Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Week 5 college football picks for the 2020 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe, all that good stuff. Last week was a very good week for me. Pick rise for college football. I went 17-2 straight up last week, which brought up my record from 18-15 to 35-17. So very impressive with the straight up. Against the spread, I did go 10-9, so above 500, but I'm still below 500 at 24-28. Hopefully another above 500 week so we can get that eventually above 500 to spread pick. Locks of the week, I was 1-2. All three of my locks of the week won, so 4-2. And then upsets of the week. One of my upset games did get canceled. We picked 20 games last week. One of them did get canceled. It was the Georgia State Charlotte game. I took Charlotte +3 as the upset, so that game got canceled. So we only had two upsets. I went 1-1 in those. And I'm not ashamed of not. The one I got wrong was the Tennessee South Carolina. I'm not ashamed of that. I didn't even get the spread pick right on that. I took South Carolina +3.5. They lost by 4, which kind of ticks me off a little bit. But the upset I did get right. Georgia Tech Syracuse. I took Syracuse +8, saying they will win the game outright, and they did in very convincing fashion. So big win there for Syracuse there for at least for me. So that's my record. Hopefully we could improve on this. I would love to go 17-2 each week, but I know some weeks it's just not going to go that way. So hopefully 17-2. Love to go maybe 19-0. Today we have do we have 25 games to pick for you guys? Yes, we do. We have 25 games to pick this week. So let's get into it. We'll just start off with the straight up category. I pick by the spread and give you a score. So that's how I do it. This first game, the Friday night game, the only weeknight game, Louisiana Tech versus BYU. BYU is a 24-point favorite. I love what I see from BYU's offense. I do think the points might be a bit too much. I'm going to take a shot here and go BYU -24, and they're going to win this game by 4 touchdowns. I'll go 49-21 BYU. Louisiana Tech's not a bad team at all. BYU, they are, in my opinion, a top 25 team. So give me BYU in this one, 49-21, and they will cover the spread. Now to the Saturday game, South Carolina versus Florida. Florida is an 18-point favorite. I'll honestly stay away from this one, but for the purposes of this video, we gotta pick it. Florida's definitely gonna win. It is in the swamp. I do think Florida. I'm gonna say I think South Carolina isn't that bad of a team per se. A lot of these games have been close. South Carolina, Florida over the past few years. Even last year, South Carolina was in that game for a while into the fourth quarter. If my memory is correct there. I'm not really impressed with Florida's defense, so I'm actually gonna take South Carolina +18, but Florida's gonna win at the end. I'll take Florida by 17 in this one. Let's go 41-24 Gators over the Gamecocks, but I'm gonna take South Carolina +18. Next game, North Carolina versus Boston College. Boston College 14-point underdogs at home. I don't care. I'm taking North Carolina win and cover. Boston College, yes, they beat Duke. More on them in a second. But then Texas State went up there. No offense to Texas State when I say this, but Boston College should be taking care of a team like Texas State. I know Texas State's pretty good. Now that one really good ride out, but I'm going to have to take North Carolina. I think they win this game probably by about 3 touchdowns at least. I'll go 45-21 North Carolina. I'll take them by 24. Next game, speaking about Duke, Virginia Tech versus Duke. Duke is a 11-point underdog at home. Once again, I don't care. I think Duke might be the worst team in the ACC, even though outside Florida State is the worst team in the ACC. But after that, I think Duke might be the second worst team in the ACC. Virginia Tech, as I said, I'm not really sold on them. That win was very impressive last week, but I'm still not really sold on them because NC State is kind of just one of the average teams at best in the ACC. So I'll go with Virginia Tech in this one. They will win and cover. I'll take them. Let's go. I think this game's gonna be a bit more on the low scoring side. I'll go 28-10 Virginia Tech. I'll take them by 18. Next game, Missouri versus Tennessee. Tennessee's a 12-point favorite at home. Missouri, I thought played okay against Alabama. I thought that, granted, the first half, I thought Alabama kind of did whatever they wanted, but once things calmed down, you can see that Missouri is not a terrible team. Tennessee, they're coming off a big win against South Carolina. It's at home in Knoxville. Tennessee, I think, will definitely win this game. That I would stay away from the point spread, though. I think 12 is a good number because I do think Tennessee could win this one by 2 touchdowns, but they could also barely escape this one. I'm actually going to go ahead and say, though, that Tennessee wins by 2 touchdowns because I just think the talent levels are just superior. I think Tennessee just has much better talent. I'll take Tennessee in this one. I'll go 31-17 Vols over the Tigers in this one. But it would not surprise me if Tennessee does not cover. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to say they cover and win by 2 touchdowns. Okay, Southern Miss versus North Texas. North Texas, in my opinion, haven't really seen them play this year, to be completely honest with you. Um, they absolutely let SMU go in there and do whatever they wanted them to do offensively. I mean, my God, that was embarrassing, that defense. Southern Miss, I don't think it's a good team. They're kind of a turmoil right now. North Texas, 1.5 point favorites. I'm going to take a chance with North Texas here. I'm not really confident in it. I want to say they win and cover. I'll take them in a shootout by a field goal. I'll go 41-38. Mean Green over the Golden Eagles, and some Conference USA play. Next game, Virginia versus Clemson. A lot of people are taking Virginia plus 28. The game's in Death Valley. I do think Virginia's defense could maybe keep this a 3 touchdown game. The question is Virginia going to get a backdoor cover? If you saw the Wake Forest game, minus 33, Clemson was favored. I sat up there. A lot of people were taking Clemson minus 33. And I sat right up there and said, no, I'm taking Wake Forest plus 33. And it turned out I was right on that by a lot, actually. I think they only won the game by 24, if I'm not mistaken. But I could see Virginia getting a backdoor cover. Clemson's definitely gonna win. Don't get me wrong, but I could definitely see a backdoor cover. I don't think Clemson is gonna sit there and hang 50 plus on Virginia. I think they might get into the low 40s, but I'm actually gonna say they don't even get to 40 in this one. I am concerned a lot about the Virginia offense. Now, granted, they hung 38 against Duke. Um, as I said, though, Duke I think is the second worst team in the ACC. Either them or Georgia Tech, pick and choose. But Clemson's gonna win definitely. God, this is a tough one. That's such a good number, minus 28. If it was like minus 30, I would be going Virginia for sure. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna take Virginia plus 28 because I just feel like a backdoor cover is coming here. Clemson, they'll win obviously. But I'm gonna go. I'll go 37. I'll go 37-15 Clemson. I'll take them by 22. Go ahead and give me the Tigers versus the Cavs and some ACC play. Speaking about ACC play, and I accidentally mistyped the word state. That's NC State, not NC State. NC State, they're 14-point underdogs on the road against Pitt. Pitt's a good team. They're a really good team. I think they're a borderline top 25 team. 14 points though. I know NC State. I don't think they're a terrible team. I don't think they're really that good of a team. But I actually do think I'm not pretty sold on Pitt's offense. I don't know if they could actually beat NC State by 2 touchdowns. I went back and forth with this one with the points, but I think Pitt wins no matter what. But I mean, I don't know if they could win by 2 touchdowns, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to say they cover Pitt because I actually just think Pitt's a much better team. I'll actually take them by the exact 14 points, which means they cover. I'll go ahead and take them. They'll win this one. Let's go. I'll go 34-20 Pitt in this one. They go ahead and get the win against NC State. Next game, Oklahoma versus Iowa State. This is a big game for Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I think, is going to come out angry. There's a lot of talk saying the Big 12 doesn't deserve a playoff spot. They're a 7-point favorite on the road against Iowa State. A pretty good Iowa State team, despite losing to Louisiana. I mean, I'm going to take Iowa State plus 7, but I'm going to say Oklahoma wins at the end. I'm going to say Oklahoma finds a way to win this game. It would not surprise me at all if Iowa State wins this one. But go ahead, give me Oklahoma. I'll go. I think it'll be somewhat of a shootout like the Kansas State game. I'll go 34-31 Oklahoma. But give me Iowa State definitely +7. Next game, Memphis versus SMU. SMU is a 2-point underdog at home. Technically, that does not qualify as as an underdog pick on McD Sports 4. If I'm picking an upset, you have to be at least a 3-point underdog. Um, but I am picking up SMU to win this game. So I'll pick the minor upset here, +2. Memphis, they haven't played in weeks because of the COVID with them. SMU, they have a hell of offense. Defensively, I'm not really sold on them, but I haven't really been sold on them for years. Defensively, SMU, I think, will win this game in a shootout. I'll go 45-38. I'll take them by a touchdown, and they'll pull off the minor upset since they're 2-point underdogs at home and some American athletic play between the Mustangs and Tigers. Some more games here. Tulsa versus UCF. UCF is a 21.5-point favorite. Tulsa is a team, as I always say this about Tulsa, they're kind of a rugged team. They play physical. Um, and I mean, last year, Tulsa pulled off the upset against UCF, so there is a payback factor here. 21.5. I mean, to me, UCF is a very good team. I am a bit leery of that number because UCF could only win this game by 3 touchdowns, 21 points, and that means Tulsa covers. But I'm going to plunge on UCF and say that they win and cover here. I'll actually take them by 4 touchdowns. As a matter of fact, I'll go 52. I'll go 52-24 UCF. I'll take them by 4 touchdowns. I'll plunge on them, but I'm not very confident in it. But they'll definitely win this game. Next game, Texas Tech versus Kansas State. Kansas State is a 2.5-point favorite at home. If Kansas State lost to Oklahoma, I actually do think Texas Tech would be the favorite going into this one. Both of these teams are coming off, I think, very impressive performances. Texas Tech does not play defense though, which is alarming since they gave up 15 points in the final 2 minutes and change against Texas last week and the comeback win. They were up 56-41, and Texas came back and beat them in their own building. Kansas State, kind of a physical team, actually a pretty physical team, but that's what they have to do at Kansas State. The game is in Manhattan. For that reason, I am going to take Kansas State. Also, because Texas Tech doesn't play defense, and I'll take Kansas State in this one. And Kansas State, they proved they could be in shootouts. So I'll go ahead and take them in a bit of a shootout. Actually, I'll go 36-32. Kansas State, they'll win this by 4. A bit of a weird game, and some Big 12 action against the Wildcats and Red Raiders. Next game, Oklahoma State versus Kansas. Kansas is a 21.5-point underdog at home. Oklahoma State, I do think, is the best team in the Big 12 from what I have seen. If you look at the McD Sports 4 poll, which was released on Monday, go check out that video. I sat there and said Oklahoma State's the best team in the Big 12 according to my poll. 21.5. I mean, Kansas, listen, I'm taking Oklahoma in this one to win and cover because Kansas has just been so disappointing this year. I mean, you let teams like Coastal Carolina, more on them in a second, go in there and absolutely do whatever they wanted against you. Baylor, more on them in a second. They did whatever they wanted against you guys. I'm taking Oklahoma State to win this game, and I think they win by 5 touchdowns. I'll go ahead and take Oklahoma State in this one. I'll go 56-21 Oklahoma State in this one. This game, I think, is gonna be an absolute blowout. I think a team in the Big 12 has to make a statement. So Oklahoma State, I think, makes a statement, and they win and cover here. TCU versus Texas. Texas is a 11.5-point favorite at home. I am definitely taking TCU plus 11.5 here, but I think Texas wins at the end. TCU kind of has Texas in the past few years. So does another team that I know, my Maryland Terps. But TCU, I think, will come up a bit short because I just think Texas is the better team. Bit of a shootout. I'll go 37-33. I'll take Texas by 4, but it would not surprise me if TCU goes in there and beats them, but I do think Texas holds on. But they are definitely not covering that 11.5 points. That I mean that I almost threw this in my locks of the week, but go ahead, give me Texas to win, but TCU definitely covers, and some Big 12 action there. Next game, Charlotte versus FAU. Florida Atlantic is like 6.5 point favorite at home. Pretty good team. They do bring in Willie Taggart. That's definitely a downgrade from Lane Kiffin at the head coach position. Charlotte, as I said, their game got canceled last week against Georgia State. I had them in the upset, but we'll pick their game this week. I think FAU does win this game, but I'm going to go ahead and take Charlotte plus 6.5 because I only have FAU winning by a field goal, 27-24 FAU. Charlotte's not a bad team though, so keep that in mind. But FAU, I think, gets the win here because I just think they might be the best team in the conference USA, despite Willie Taggart. Okay, 4 more games here in the straight up category. Game of the week here: Auburn versus Georgia, top 10 matchup right here. Georgia -7. I am definitely taking Auburn +7, but I think Georgia finds a way to win this game. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Bulldogs in this one. Low scoring, 20-17. I think it's a classic game, but at the end, give me the Bulldogs in this one because I just think they are the better team. But I definitely give me Auburn +7 in this one. Next game, LSU versus Vandy. Vandy is a 21-point underdog at home. LSU's gonna come out mad. They're gonna beat Vandy. Now, granted, give Vandy credit for playing Texas A and them. Very tough. More on them in a second, but I think LSU just comes out mad. I don't know. The offense proved to me that they could definitely score points. Um, Defensively, we'll see where we get from them. They did give up 38 last year to Vandy, so Vandy kind of could sit there and look at the tape last year, maybe look at it. And I actually kind of just talked myself into it. LSU's still going to win, but I'm going to take Vandy +21. I just talked myself into it. I do have it on the sheet here. Take LSU -21, but I'm gonna actually call a audible and say Vandy +21. But LSU still wins. I'm actually gonna take LSU by 20. And it won't surprise me if LSU actually covers, but they'll definitely win. Go ahead, give me LSU in this one, 41-21. Go ahead, give me the Tigers versus the Commodores. Another SEC game here. All these games are SEC games. Arkansas versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a 17.5 point favorite at home. They will win and cover. Mississippi State, I think, might be the fourth best team in the SEC behind the Alabama teams and, of course, Florida. But maybe Georgia is maybe the fifth best team. But from what I saw in week 1, I think they are the fourth best team from what I've seen. We'll see what Georgia does against Auburn, obviously. But they'll win and cover. Give Arkansas credit for playing Georgia very tough in the first half. But you saw in the second half, Arkansas is not a good team. So go ahead, give me Mississippi State by 3 touchdowns. I'll go ahead and take them. Let's go 45-24 Bulldogs over the Razorbacks. And then the last, well, not the last SEC game I'm going to talk about, but the last one on this out of these 4 games in front of you, Ole Miss versus Kentucky. Kentucky is a 6-point favorite. Ole Miss offensively is pretty good. Defensively they suck. I do think Kentucky wins, but I'm actually going to take Ole Miss +6 because I mean, I feel like the offense is good enough to maybe get this within a field goal. I'm gonna actually go ahead and take Ole Miss by 2 actually. I'm gonna go ahead and take them 30. I mean, I'm not taking Ole Miss by 2. I'm taking Kentucky by 2. Kentucky's gonna win 31-29, in my opinion. But never count on Mark Stoops for Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky looked as bad as people sat there and thought, but I do think they're not gonna cover that 6-point spread. I'm going to only take them by 2, 31-29 Kentucky against the Rebels. So now here are my locks of the week. So that's the straight up category. Now I count all the games as a straight up. If I give like one of the locks of the week, I throw that in there as well in the straight up category. So that's kind of just like the overall record, the straight up category. But here are my locks of the week. Texas A&M versus Alabama. Alabama's an 18-point favorite at home. This game's on CBS. I am going to take Alabama -18. I am not impressed with Texas A&M's offense at all. Matter of fact, I think Kellen Mond is the definition of a pedestrian quarterback, and I think Bama wins this game by at least 3 touchdowns. I'll go ahead and take Alabama in this one. I'll go 42-19 Alabama. I'll take them by 23 actually. So go ahead and give me the Crimson Tide versus the Aggies. So go ahead, give me Alabama on that. East Carolina versus Georgia State. I'm taking Georgia State -1.5. I think they win and cover that spread. Obviously, East Carolina's not a bad team. I think in the American, they might be the worst team in the American, but I still don't think they're a bad team. I don't think there's really a bad team in the American since UConn left. Um, but Georgia State, their game got canceled last week as well against Charlotte, who was in my upsets of the week last week. I had Georgia State. They were a 3-point favorite. I had them losing, but I think they win and cover here. I think it'll turn into a bit of a shootout, possibly, maybe a bit of a dogfight. But I'm going to go 31-27 Georgia State. I do think they win and cover here. And then South Florida versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati -22. And usually I don't like taking locks of the week down more than like probably more than like 10 points, I would say, maybe 12 points in some scenarios. Definitely not more than 14 points. And I don't like for usual, I will usually want to take Alabama -18 as a lock of the week or Cincinnati -22 as a lock of the week. But I'm very confident that Alabama's going to beat Texas A&M by at least 3 touchdowns. I'm pretty confident that Cincinnati is going to beat South Florida by at least 4 touchdowns. Listen, South Florida, not really that good of a team. You saw that against Notre Dame. Cincinnati, best group of 5 team in my opinion. Showed it against Army by covering that spread, a spread that I actually did not think they were going to cover. I was surprised by that. Granted, they barely covered, but I mean, Army's a tough team. Don't get me wrong, but I'm taking Cincinnati in this one. I'm going Cincinnati to win this game and covering as well. Um, I'll go. I'm gonna go 48-14. I think they win. What's that? 34 points. I think they win by 34 points. Cincinnati. I think they're that much better than South Florida. So those are my locks of the week right there, and then my 3 upsets of the week. Hopefully none of these upsets get canceled like last week. Arkansas State versus Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is a 3-point underdog at home. You gotta be a 3-point underdog for me to take the upset or make these sports for during these college football pick videos. I'm going to take Coastal Carolina +3 to pull off the upset here. I like their defense a lot. I mean, I saw for them to go into Kansas and do whatever they wanted against them showed me all I need to know about Coastal Carolina. They'll win this game. In my opinion, I think it'll be a back and forth game, but I'll take Coastal Carolina in this one. Let's go. I'll go 30-27 Coastal Carolina. They win by a field goal. And Arkansas State's not a bad team at all. They might even be a better team than Coastal Carolina, but with the game in Coastal Carolina, 3 points, yeah, I'll take the upset on that. Why not? Give me the Shaq and Leaders versus against the Red Wolves in this one, and I'll take the Shaq and Leaders, obviously, as I just said. Navy, Air Force. Air Force, they are going to be playing against Navy and Army this year out of the non-cons, despite the Mountain West coming out saying we're only doing a conference-only schedule because of military code rules and all that. Air Force +7. I'm going to say they win this game. First time we're ever going to see them play this year. Navy. Now, Grant, Navy has gotten a lot better from game 1 against BYU. That might have actually, I mean, Grant, I still think them having no tackle football practice was part of the problem, but BYU is a good team, as I said earlier. But Air Force will win this game. I'll take them +7. I'll go Air Force in this one. I'll go 20-14 Air Force. Because Air Force is a good team. Listen, out of the Mountain West, if we were having a normal season, Air Force Air Force. They were number 2 on my power rankings for the Mountain West. I thought they were the second best team coming out of the Mountain West Air Force. So I'll go ahead and take Air Force against Navy in this one. They're actually a pretty good team, Air Force. I'm taking them 20-14, and they'll be covering that +7 for sure. And then the last game, Baylor versus West Virginia. I do think Baylor's the better team, but I'm actually going to take the Mountaineers in this one, the second best team in West Virginia. +3. It's just one of those why not. I mean, to me, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Navy and Air Force, when I first looked at the chart of games, was the only one I sat there and said that needs to be in the upset. So I had to find two others. So I'll take so Arkansas State and Coastal Carolina and Baylor and West Virginia +3, +3 both at home, 3-point underdogs at home. I mean, I was like, why not? I'll go ahead and take West Virginia in this one to win. Bit of a shootout game. I'll go. I'll go 42-35 West Virginia. They'll win by a touchdown. And Baylor's not a bad team, but West Virginia at home. Um, I actually thought that game against Oklahoma State was going to be a bit more. It was actually not a bad performance for them. Now, granted, I thought some of it was Oklahoma State was kind of flat, but West Virginia's not as bad as I thought they were going to be. So I'll take West Virginia at home. Yeah. What did I say? 42-35 West Virginia. So go ahead, give me the Mariners versus the Bears. So those are my picks of the week. Comment down below, tell me your picks. I always like hearing from you all. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. McD the Beast signing off.